Maisie just come for her cuddle. Good morning. Good morning, Muffin. Pearl's there. Good morning, Muffin. I don't know where Muffin came from. Muffin. Good morning. It's Monday, July 13th. I almost said Thursday. What the heck? I'm Barbara. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. I have Pearl here, and I'm going to cut in a little bit of Maisie because I was really boring myself, and this is take 2, and Maisie showed up for take 1. So I will edit take 1 and put Maisie in here. And I will try not to be quite so boring. When I bore myself, that's really bad. Because, I think I'm fascinating. So it takes a while for me to bore myself, apparently. I don't know. Oh my God. Take 2s are always, wrong. Something's wrong. Anyway, I was going on 13 minutes and I'm like, OMG. I can't believe it. So my knee is still acting up. I'm going to have to call the doctor. Dennis thinks I should call our regular doctor. Just call it, just call your doctor. Go see what she has to say. She's, I'm like, okay, well, I'll do that. But we'll also text my friend and get a recommendation for a knee person. But it's not really getting any better. So something must be done because I need somebody to tell me what's going on with it. I would be shocked if there's anything they can do for it other than wait. But I am not a doctor or a nurse, and I have not kept up with the latest in, joint whatever. So I could be wrong. Maybe there's something they could do. But meanwhile, it's a beautiful morning. We have the cicadas. Our bird is around, so I hope we will hear him on this take because she or he was around earlier, but those are the cicadas. They've come to join us this year. We had a very, very heavy rain last night with some thunder. Pearl did very well with the thunder, though, didn't you, puppy? You weren't too bad. So maybe she's calmer now. I don't know. Maybe it's, having everybody home all the time, but we got her when we were retired. We were already home, always home all the time. So I guess I'm not sure what it was, but anyway, she seemed okay last night. Right, pup? Wasn't terrible. And it poured rain, so everything is going to grow. The grass is going to grow. I said, I can't mow the lawn. Well, I can ride the riding mower. So I'm not getting out of that, I guess. But I don't like riding the riding mower. I prefer to do the pushing mower, but obviously I will not be mowing the lawn anytime soon. I'm pretty sure. See, now I've talked for 3 minutes and I don't know. I think I already said I'm going to call the doctor today, didn't I? I did. I said that. So that's the plan. I had my crafting with Christy night last night. My daughter Christy and I have a recurring Zoom meeting on Sunday nights, and seems like Zoom, and it's Sunday again. I mean, seriously, the time is just really zooming by for me. Of course, it did start to do that as I got older anyway, but now it just really feels that way to me. So we had a nice visit, and that was good. Rich was busy. I didn't actually see him. I did hear his voice a little bit. Worked on my sleeve. My sleeve is up to above my elbow now. It starts at the wrist, and it's up to above my elbow. I'm soon going to have to get out my calculator and figure out what the top of the sleeve needs to look like so that it matches the body that I knit. And so I want to do a little figuring just to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. I'm going to have to sew the shoulder seams together on my 3 pieces of the body, because you do that and then you put in the sleeve and then you sew up the sleeve and the body together, and then I'll have the button band. I have a collection of buttons. I will there's always a button seller or more than one at, you know, fiber festivals, Rhinebeck, Maryland. And in the past years, I have bought buttons with no project particularly in mind. But I do have a bin of buttons, and I did just come across a box full of sets of buttons that I had been wondering, gee, I thought I had more buttons than this, and I did, and I found them. So I don't know if I have anything that's going to work with this. That would be something fun to figure out, and I could do that without carrying anything upstairs because the sweater's drying upstairs. Well, it's dry, and the buttons are upstairs, so I can go do that. Because I want to have the buttons when I do the button band, because I'm going to be doing the buttonholes, and you want your buttonholes to be appropriate for your buttons. So I will be doing that. So that's next on the sweater agenda. I did start putting a little bit of the pink in the giraffe last night. Christy asked about it. I'm like, oh yeah, let me do that, because the pink was all surrounded. I just had this blank spot for the color because I didn't have the color. Thank you, Joanne. Joanne sent me the color. She sent me, I'm using the other color, the one you suggested. It's still very light, but the other one would be pure white. This one is very light. Anyway. So I started that last night while I was talking to Christy, and I might do a little more cross stitch. At the beginning of all this, I made myself some lists of craft projects I wanted to do. Ow, sorry. And things around the house I want to do. Well, things around the house. But I want to go look at that list of craft projects and kind of revise it and sort of think about what I want to do. Every time I pick up my cross stitch, I wish I had a needle book. You know, people make little needle books, and I was going to cross stitch a cover of a needle book and then make with fabric pages in it, and then you can keep your cross stitch needles in. You know, you have different size needles and that kind of thing. Because I have no good place for my needles. I just go look in an old project and see if I can find a package of needles. I'm very disorganized. My cross stitch is very disorganized. It's not very big yet in terms of volume of stuff. You know, it's nothing like the knitting, which is taking up rooms. But a needle book is something that I want to make myself and have. And then I want to, you know, then I can think about what needles do I have, what do I need, you know, that kind of stuff. I've never actually thought about needles in terms of which needle do you use and why. I guess if you're doing a cross stitch with a very fine fabric, you want a very fine needle, which would make perfect sense when you think about it. But I don't think about, I just find a needle and use it. But I'm not doing anything that's really fine work either at this point. I'm just an egg, as they say in Stranger in a Strange Land. I'm new at this. I'm just starting out, just figuring it out, fumbling along. And I haven't done much in the way of research and things like that. It, you know, feels like, is there such a place like Ravelry for cross stitch? Is there a place where people gather and like give tips and things? Is there a forum for cross stitchers? Are you aware of anything like that? That would be cool. Someplace like tips and tricks and techniques like they have on Ravelry. If you've never read that thread on Ravelry, and you can read Ravelry these days, which many people apparently cannot, I highly recommend it. I started at the beginning and started reading. You know, I learned a lot just by those tips. And I wonder, is there such a thing for cross stitch? But I got to get a wiggle on with my cross stitch, and I haven't bought the pattern for Isabel's unicorn yet. But I'm working on Sammy's giraffe, because giraffe's her favorite animal. And right now, giraffe is my favorite animal because it's so much fun. And it's the perfect cross-stitch project for me at this point because it is so free form. It has the colorful giraffe. It's got all different colors in it going up around to the head. So, you know, count, don't count, whatever, free, you know, nobody's going to know. It's not going to matter if I don't get the count exactly right, which is exactly where I want to be at this point. You know, it's a little bit like, you know, I don't want to think in my knitting, well, this is like, I guess I don't want to count in my cross stitch. Christy said, well, this is why I'm doing this freehand embroidery, because counting's not my thing. I'm like, I thought I could count. It's not terrible. But anyway, I'm going to work on my cross stitch. Work on my sleeves. She decided she didn't think she would wear a boxy very much. She is in Mississippi. But she said that I was right. She thought the nieces would love boxies. So I might just think about making the nieces some boxies for Christmas, even though I don't really, it's been a couple of years since I've given them much of a present. In the past years when they were around, my older niece is living in California now. She's just graduating college, and the younger niece was starting her sophomore year. I would give them a gift a gift certificate, or I give them cash and a ride to the King of Prussia Mall, and they would come, you know, and they would stay with me, and I would take them to the mall, and I would take them out to lunch, and then we would just whatever they wanted to do. This started when they were actually quite young, and I took them to the local mall in State College, which is a terrible mall. They live in State College, and you know, and the gift was, you know, I'll buy you an outfit. Well, that changed immediately before we hardly even hit the mall, because my nieces are ace #1 bargain shoppers. So I had in mind, you know, I'm going to spend $50 each on the kids or whatever at that time. And I said, okay, wait a minute. All right, so instead of an outfit, here's your budget. And they went to town and they had a great time. So that became a little bit of a tradition. And as they got older, you know, the King of Prussia Mall, if you're not familiar with it, and why you would be, I don't know, unless you're a big shopper, is one of the few destination malls in the United States. And it's not as big as the Mall of America, which is in the upper Midwest, where they have Ferris wheels and, you know, like an amusement park and all this stuff. This is pure unadulterated shopping, and mostly high-end shopping, or a lot of high-end shopping. They've got everything. I mean, it is a mall, but it's a huge mall, and it's considered a destination mall. I mean, people come so that they can go to the King of Prussia Mall. So anyway, yeah, it's a big deal, and it's about a half an hour from me. So if you're a shopper and you think you want to go to the mall when the world gets normal, let me know. You can stay with us, and I'll take you to the King of Prussia Mall. And I can do with you what I do with my nieces, which is I'm going to sit here. You guys do what you want, and I'll be, you know, reading or knitting something. But anyway, so, but I haven't done that in the last few years. They're bigger now and working, and you know. But I did make them hats a couple years ago for Christmas. They were both kind of black. I thought they wanted black hats, but they weren't enthusiastic about them. And I wasn't enthusiastic about knitting them. They were black. I'm like, okay, never mind. But I think she's right. I think they would both love a boxy. And they would look very adorable in them. So I will make 2 boxies, and maybe I will just put both in the box, put a thing that says to Janine and Ella, and then they can decide between the 2 of them which one they want, or they can share them. Although one lives in California and the other one lives in Delaware, so that won't work so great. But anyway, and then I will always have a stockinette project on the go for when I just want to pick up and knit, which means I won't get, you know, so that'll take the time I might otherwise work on my blanket, or I might otherwise work on socks. But since I'm not in the mood for socks, I have not been able to find my sock blanks Simona did 2 sock blanks. I showed them on my podcast, and I haven't seen them since. And I don't know what I did with them. I stuck them in a bag somewhere, so I have to go find them. But I need to make up a box and send Simona a box of yarn and have her crank me out some more sock tubes. And then I'll just sit down one day or 2 days or whatever, and when winter starts to come, and have a sock session and put in the cuffs and the heels and the toes and have some new socks for my rotation for next year. Because I wear only hand knit socks. I guess I won't be able to say that they were my socks since I didn't crank them, but I will. I'll claim them anyway. Because I'll be putting the heels and the toes, so that will count. But since I don't feel like doing socks, apparently, having boxies on the go for my nieces will satisfy that. I want to just sit and do stockinette, and I don't want to feel like I'm not doing anything, but I don't want to think time, which apparently I still have plenty of. My sleeves are a little bit like that because I'm, I just have to do increases every 10 rows or 11 rows, so that's easy enough. I have pins along the side, and I'm just backing and forthing, except I do not know how I did it. I put a picture in on Instagram, and if I remember, I'll put the picture here too. I did something, and so the yarn from one sleeve was through the knitted fabric. I didn't knit the other yarn into the sleeve. It was just caught between the stitches, so I could pull it and I could still work it. Eventually it didn't work and I had to cut it and get it out of there. But I can't even picture how I did that. It was like 1.5 inches in from the edge. I somehow had the yarn. I literally cannot picture how that happened. But you could pull the yarn back and forth. It was perfectly free flowing. It was just through the fabric of the other sleeve. And I thought, oh, well, let me just back up, and it didn't work. I took this, I found it, right away, 1.5 rows in. Anyway, it was so bizarre, and I still cannot picture the mechanics of how that happened. Very strange. So anyway, other than that, it's just back and forth, mindless knitting at this point, since I'm not even putting in the texture at this point. So anyway, so I think I'm gonna go through my yarns and take a look and see what I can find for some boxies for my nieces. Or maybe I will go to my local yarn shop and buy specifically for the nieces. That would be fun too. I haven't been there in a long time, and I think they do appointments or something. So if I wear my mask. But I will look in shop in my stash first. So anyway, well, this is, it's a beautiful day. I'll be spending some time on the deck. It's not feeling particularly muggy, so I think it's going to really be a nice day, and that'll be good. And to go to the doctor, have her look at my knee, and see what's what. So annoying. I'm so annoyed with my knee. But what a gorgeous day. So that's good. I hope you are all well. I hope life is good to you. I hope you have a wonderful week. And stay well. Be careful. Things are going crazy in the United States. Wear your mask. Ugh. Anyway, I'm so glad to talk to you. I'm so appreciative of the good wishes and healing thoughts coming my way. Thank you. And please take care of yourself. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Stay safe and stay sane.